Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be doing some database exploitation, specifically a PhpMyAdmin, and how if we get access to PhpMyAdmin or MySQL server, how can we escalate that and take or convert that into remote shell back to our attacking machine. Previously, in a video I published, it was about database penetration testing. We used the method of UDF binary exploitation, and it was a hell hard to do that. Now, in addition to that method, let's say we got access to PhpMyAdmin, right? So we guessed the credentials and we have access. Now, how can we turn that into reverse shell? Or how can we put together something that get us connection back to our Kali machine so we can have limited shell access or root? So basically, all we have to do, guys, we have to go to MySQL, go to SQL query, the editor, and we put, let's say, select, and from here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna open code and use PHP, guys. So here we're gonna invoke system functions from PHP directly. So system, and open parentheses, and inside it, we're gonna use get, if you remember get, right? And inside the square parentheses, I'm going to use cmd as my parameter for executing system commands, and then I'm going to close the parentheses, and after that put semicolon, the question mark. Okay. So the command is correct. Now next, we need what we actually need now, guys. Here. Close this. Okay. What we actually need, we need to output that into a file that we can access from the browser and pass the CMD parameter to that file. So we're going to use the functionality in MySQL, which is into file, into out file. And then we're going to display the path. This path should be or must be the path of the Apache web server, or in case it is Windows, the path of exam. So in case it is Apache web server, depending on the system you are testing, so you're going to put var www.html, and here I'm going to name it shell3.php. Let me try this out. So I have some issues in my command. Let's get back. Select PHP system. I seem to have some problem here. So basically here, okay, let me copy it again. Let me copy this command and paste it again. Okay, let's go. Oh, already exists. Yeah, I did that before because let's do or rename the file. Put it forward. All right, so now you have created your PHP shell file. All you have to do is go to the IP address and invoke the file. Now this is not enough, since we need to pass the parameter, which is cmd, and here we put the command. Let's test this out with some simple command. Why? So the command has been executed successfully, as you can see. We can use ifconfig. Right. We can use uname. Let's put plus here. Uname plus R. Does it work? Nope. Ah, uname. Okay, sorry. think I'm making too much typos these days. Okay, so now we got also the version of the operating system, as you can see. So right now we're executing shell commands, right? How about if we manage to get netcuts, right? So for some reasons, I cannot take connection back from this machine because I am behind NAT, and this machine is on Google. So I'm not going to be able to get netcuts, but the concept goes the same, guys. So use NC, the IP address of your machine, and here the port where you're listening on. Okay, so basically this is you press that and you get connection back, right? Now, what caused this query to happen? I mean, how come everyone can log into my PhpMyAdmin and execute these commands, right? How can we mitigate that? So basically, guys, what caused this query to be successful? Actually, two reasons. Let's get back to query. All right. So here we have, as you can see, the HTML directory. It seems that the user running PhpMyAdmin has write access to the HTML directory, right? And also, in databases, there is functionality called secure file privilege, right? This functionality does not let you output files or write files to the directories, right? So how can we examine this functionality? Let's now go to let's go to the vulnerable machine and see what caused this to happen. Okay, now I am inside here. We are on the machine that we got shell access to. Let's see now the permissions of the HTML directory. Let's go to var. As you can see, the HTML directory is owned by root as a owner and the group root, but the permissions are insecure. Anyone can read, write, and execute on this directory. The correct permissions of this file should be this mode, and here I'm going to put 755 HTML. Now, only the owner can write to this file, but other people, like the group and everyone, cannot write to this file. Let's try to execute this command with a new file and see if it works. As you can see, oh, let's put it 5. So cannot create write to this file, permission denied, right? Because right now the permissions are secure. Let me show you the error on PhpMyAdmin side. Okay. So as you can see here, I tried to execute that and I got permissions denied error. Now suppose that the permissions are not secured, so you were able to execute this. Now another reason why we were able to do that is the secure file privilege functionality. So basically, let's go back to the shell. Okay, and from here, we're going to clear. We're going to go to etc MySQL, and we're going to go to MySQL .conf.d, and this file is a configuration file, right? Let's see the contents of it. All right, let's go down, down. As you can see, secure file privilege has been set to none. So we need to put some directory here, like var, like user lib MySQL, right? So if we put that, only then we will be able to secure the database from these kind of attacks. All right. Okay, now what about if I want to execute this from the command prompt? So basically here we can do MySQL clear MySQL -h localhost u root, and bear with me until I get the password. Where is the password? Okay, it's the password. So now what I can do here, guys, instead of PhpMyAdmin, suppose PhpMyAdmin is not installed on the system, and I got access to the command prompt to MySQL. What I can do here, simply, I can take the same command, guys, and paste it here, right? Now, because we have security permissions, it's not going to work. So the key takeaway here, the permissions and the secure file privilege in MySQL. Pretty basic stuff, right? Okay. Now, if you remember, we did some binary exploitation in the last video about our database exploitation, right? I'm going to put this the link of this video in the description, or I'm going to put it as a card on this video. You can access it. So let me log in now to, I'm going to convert to my Kali box. Okay, so now we are in Kali. So let's go somewhere. All right, so basically here, let me log in. Let me clear all of that. MySQL to Metasploitable. Admin. Oh, root. Okay, so now if you remember, we used the concept of user-defined. Where is it? Where's the file? User-defined libraries. So this is the file, and basically, guys, what we can do with this file, if you remember in the last video, we have imported this file to the plugin directory, and from there we were able to execute some system functions and return reverse shell to our machine. Now that's the third way, if you are able to take that. So basically, here, let's use MySQL, and I don't remember the commands, so I'm going to take, I did them alone here. So let's go down, scroll down. So what we did here, guys, we created a table. Let me replicate that work here. Okay. So basically, the second option is to create a library, library file, right? User-defined library, and import that into MySQL to get backdoor. So suppose that we got MySQL access. We use MySQL, then we create database, or sorry, we create table. Let's say table UDF2, and here we're gonna put some kind of line, loop, and we're gonna create that. Okay. 0 rows affected. Show tables. Oh. Show. Okay, use MySQL. Show tables. So we got UDF2. That's excellent. Now the next thing, guys, we're gonna insert the user-defined library into the table. UDF2, and then value will be, so here you put load file functionality, right? And you can open parentheses. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay. So let's load this file into the database. Now, before loading the file, the user-defined library needs to be transferred over to the victim machine, or the machine you are testing. Specifically, I have transferred over this file to the temp directory. So basically, we use temp, and the file name, let's go to temp. The file name is, we can't copy it, right? Okay, let's write it. MySQL UDF says, so you can see the file already exists. I know that. Let's write. You have error in your SQL syntax. What's that error? Can you tell me what it is? Okay, so here we put 2. Okay, one row affected. Let's go to the machine here and make sure we have imported the file. Actually, the file already exists, so no need to make sure. So here we have imported, we use SQL to import the user-defined file, as you can see, to load it into MySQL. After we have imported the file to Galleybox, to the testing machine. Now, the next thing, we need to select and dump this file, right, from the table we have just created. So right now, we will be issuing commands to load the file into a new row, dump the contents of that row to a new file, and then create the function, right? So here, let's select from UDF2, and then into here, as you can see, we need to dump the contents of the row, right? Since it holds the library file or the shared library file. Okay, from UDF2 into dump file, and then the trick comes around. So basically, user here, let's say, select a directory where we will dump the shared library lib, and here we're gonna write the name of the new file. It's gonna be lib MySQL UDF sys. So can I write? Okay, so it's saying cannot write to file user lib, right? So if it cannot write to this file, it means that I cannot go further with my attack. Why this happens? Let's go to my Metasploitable, guys, and see why does that happen. So basically, if we go to cd etc cd AppArmor, AppArmor. Okay, AppArmor. How is this, man? No, this is not the one I want. ls grep AppArmor. Ah, .d. Okay. So let's go back. .d. All right. Now nano user admin MySQL. So basically, AppArmor comes loaded into Ubuntu systems to limit the export, import, or write, read operations in MySQL. So basically, as you can see here, I have the list of all the files that MySQL can write or read. So the permissions of all the files, as you can see, for MySQL. So if you go down, as you can see, we can see the files that we can import, directories that you can import files to. So basically, I have var log MySQL, var user share MySQL, read, but it is only read, as you can see. Var log MySQL read write. Let's go back and try to put var log MySQL log MySQL. Let's see if this works. Oh, it worked. So we were able now to import that into this directory. Now the next step, guys, we need to execute the system function. So let's create function and name it, which is system execute actually. And after that, we're going to return integer. So name, the library file name, and here we put the file name. So it is lib MySQL UTF dot so. So there's no such file or directory. Yeah, actually, I expected this. Why? Since, guys, we are here, I think the path must be in the user. Why? Because I'm inside MySQL here. I cannot switch to var log. Let's go back. So that basically that's what prevented this from happening. Permissions from the AppArmor. So basically, guys, user-defined libraries work to get you backdoor on the testing box, but you need to be lucky and have some permissions on some directories like this one. Okay, now, so here I have user lib directory. Let's try to enable it. Permissions denied. As always, I forgot to put sudo. Oh, I forgot the file. Sudo nano. I know this is not practical, that you need to do that in black box settings, right? Supposing that you don't have access to the machine to do these configurations, but I'm doing that to illustrate the idea to you guys how all this happens. So supposing or assuming that we have permissions, let's try to reload AppArmor now. Sudo etc. Okay. Now let's try to do that here. That file. Oh, it's the same. Okay. So apparently we cannot go further with this attack since we don't have permissions, or the permissions some way aren't working. So basically that's the structure of this attack actually, guys. So you have to make sure the permissions are set correctly both in the AppArmor and on your directories to prevent any kind of MySQL backdoors to work. So basically, guys, MySQL backdoors rely heavily on the functionality or rely heavily on importing files into directories. So if the permissions are secured enough on your machine, MySQL backdoors most probably will not work, okay? I hope this was helpful and informational, and don't forget to check out the video where I illustrated the details of how to conduct user-defined libraries exploitation on databases. Again, it also relies on the permissions. So the permissions are your way to secure your systems. All right. See you in the next video.